Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Conor Matthews making his UFC debut against Dennis Buzukja, who I will call Dennis Bazooka, like Matt Serra. Dennis Bazooka is 26 years old, 11-4 as a pro, and he's got 1 inch of height, but giving up half an inch of reach to 31-year-old Conor Matthews, who is 7-1. Dennis is being given a much more fair shot here than he has in the past. He's 0-2 in the UFC. Made his debut on very short notice against Sean Woodson and was a step behind that whole fight. And then he made his return against Jamal Emmers, who knocked him out inside of a minute. That's the only time he's ever been finished, Dennis Bazooka. The thing is, it does come again in his last fight, which was still only 4 months ago. So there's a little bit of concern there, but he is a 26-year-old kid, and I'm expecting him to have regained his health since then. And here he's fighting Conor Matthews, making his debut in the UFC here. He's got a 7-1 record. He's got 6 finishes, 5 by submission, and just 1 by TKO or knockout, and then just 1 decision, which comes in his most recent win over Yair Farias on the Contender Series. And he showed he could fight hard for 15 minutes. There were points where he was hurt in that fight, and there was no doubt after round 1, in my opinion, that he was going to win. He took over that fight. Even in round 1, he was doing well, but then he was kind of hurt in the end, at the end of round 1, where I thought that swayed the judges. Or swayed me anyway. But he definitely got the better of him, and good for him to get his 1 decision victory against his best opponent. The guy had like a 10-0 record or whatever. And that was a good effort for Conor Matthews. Again, he's got 5 submissions, 1 TKO, but he is a very good striker, Conor Matthews. I guess maybe he's more inclined to get the sub, but even in those subs, he's got 5 submissions. Half his takedowns in those fights are knockdowns. He's definitely got it going on the feet. He's a very comfortable striker, and he's got good power and very sharp technique. He was chopping down the guy Yair, beating him up to the head and the body, kicking him in the head, chopping his legs. He was really working him, and I think he's going to be comfortable in a kickboxing bout with Dennis Buzukja. Not that he'll be winning, but he'll be comfortable. He's not the grappler that he looks like on paper, is my point. And his 1 loss comes to Francis Marshall on the Contender Series 2 years ago. And that's another fight in which he was hurt. He was hurt in round 1, hurt in round 3, where I thought he was going to get finished. Francis Marshall was beating him up and was definitely better than him. But he stood tall, and to have your 1 loss be standing tall against a UFC fighter, not a bad look at all for Conor Matthews. I'd say he's definitely the more dangerous submission artist between the two. Buzukja does have 1 sub, and it comes in his most recent win, which is a nice look, just like Conor Matthews getting his 1 decision win in his last fight. But still, the talent isn't there for Buzukja. He's playing catch up, over at Serra-Longo to catch up to his striking game. Conor Matthews, even though he's probably a striker first and foremost, he's already proven on 5 occasions as a pro he can close the show with submissions. And I'd say if anybody got the sub here, it'd be Conor Matthews. But if anybody got the knockout, I'd slightly favor Dennis Buzukja, even though he's been knocked out in his last fight. Conor Matthews is a guy that I've seen hurt on multiple occasions, again, against Farias and against Francis Marshall, his loss there. But in 2 fights I haven't seen, amateur fights, he was knocked out. He was knocked out with a head kick and a punch as an amateur. I haven't seen them, so I can't tell you exactly what they look like. But don't get me wrong, I've tried to see them. But one of them I can dismiss because I believe it was in 2011. The other one, however, was in 2019. So still only 5 years ago, and he was finished. So there's doubt definitely moving forward with his durability. That combined with, again, seeing him get rocked a few times as a pro. But I think this fight will be a close fight that does go the distance. I think takedowns could seal the deal, but I expect this one largely to be contested on the feet. And assuming neither chin fails. A gun to my head, I'll favor Dennis Buzukja. I think he's being given a much more winnable matchup than fighting these guys who are much longer and taller and more seasoned than him in Jamal Emmers. And I think here he's going to be the guy to tame the newcomer in Connor Matthews. But I'm not betting on it. That's just my prediction. My prediction means shit to me in this matchup because I just think there's a lot of things going on. Again, Dennis Buzukja was the one knocked out more recently. He's also not the guy to capitalize on any sort of grappling situation, whereas Connor Matthews is. And Connor Matthews, despite having been knocked out before, as a pro, he has been hurt, but he's shown he can take it. And I guess I'll go with the decision as my pick. But yeah, not betting on this one even at all. I don't imagine any prop bets will jump out to me unless there's something that's way off. But yeah, just staying away, hoping this is a good fight. Hope it's a good debut for Connor Matthews, and I hope Dennis Buzukja gets to show more than he has so far in the UFC. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.